Hello, my name is Shadley and welcome to a brand new series of Guitar 3. Today we'll be starting a playthrough as Mexico, or Mexico, and forewarning, for any Spanish speaking viewers, I will probably butcher a lot of the names throughout the series, so I apologize in advance. But yeah, we're going to be starting as Mexico, since we ended the playthrough in Marina Kingdom last time. We didn't quite get all the way to 1935, but the game was just very sluggish at that point, so, and we had we had achieved some of the goals, not everything, but it's fine. And so we start in a war against Texas. We don't actually have any troops on the front line there yet. So let's go ahead and mobilize this. It's gonna have you be on the defensive there for a little bit. And then let's have a look at the research. So we actually start in a pretty decent situation in terms of research. Like, we don't have lathes or anything like that, but we do have most of the level 1s in production. In military, we also have most of the level 1s. There's 2 that are missing. And then in society, there's 4 that are missing. But beyond that, we've got a pretty good situation in terms of tech, compared to Marina anyway. So we'll start with the lathe. I think that's a good start. If we have a look at that economy a little bit, so we've got some food industries, we've got a bit of textile mills, 2 furniture factories, 1 glasswork, some urban centers, government administration, and 2 universities, which isn't too bad, but at the same time, it might not be quite enough. Now, one of the things that I did notice, actually, while having a look around, is that we can actually build some opium plantations over here in Sinaloa. But anyway, I think the first things first, in terms of production, we'll build a... Actually, we'll probably build it in here. Build a construction sector. Then after that, we'll build a few... or 2 barracks in here, so we get at least 5. So if we actually have a look at the laws real quick. And we're now playing in the 1.3.2 patch, I believe. But if we do have a look at the laws, so we start with oligarchy, presidential republic, cultural exclusion, state religion, appointed bureaucrats, which is quite nice, professional army, which is really nice, agrarianism, which isn't quite as nice, but it's at least something. And then mercantilism, land-based taxation, so that is something we'll probably want to switch eventually. Then we've got tenant farmers, which gives the landowners a lot of strength. I'm not going to go back to surfing, that's for sure. So I don't know, there's a few options over here that we haven't really checked yet too much. We do have colonial exploitation, so we do colonize fairly quickly. We have no police, no schools, no health system, we've got censorship, no workers' rights, child labor allowed, legal guards. So most of these are... We do have migration controls at least, so people can migrate in and out, which is quite useful. And we have banned slavery, which, unlike USA at this time in history, has not yet done. But right, we've got the construction sector, 2 barracks. I think another thing that we need to do is we need to get a tooling workshop. We don't have any yet, so tools are going to be very much an issue. And we don't have an inventory, of course, quite yet, but that will be fixed eventually. But I think that's a good start. I think what we're going to do also is we are going to activate some conscripts from here. Not really massive amounts, but I'm sure that that will be more than plenty for the army in here. It's said to be max 17. So there's a lot of... Oh, actually, we've got a lot of authority. We might as well utilize a little bit of that. Plus, we're not trying to pass any laws yet. Let's have a look at the taxation law. We've got 70% chance of passing it. Not the worst. If we do try to pass it, the law passing system has, of course, changed to some degree. I think we are going to increase the military wages as well. The morale recovery is going to be a bit higher, and the... Oh, actually, let's put in the interest groups back into the outliner. That's usually a very nice thing to have there. I suppose we could have the market in here as well. There's a bit... or a bit more in there, but I suppose that's going to be fine. So yeah, we've got troops moving in. We're going to be defending initially. Once we start getting a bit of troops, we'll start attacking. I think we should be able to pull that off. And I suppose we've got 2 strategic regions. We've got Central America in here. Let's mobilize this one and give it another one to help defend there. Speaking of Central America is improving relations with us. But what we might do, in terms of like goals in terms of like land areas rather, is we'll be taking the modern day USA, the continental area. Might try to go for Alaska, I'm not entirely sure. And then we'll probably do a little bit of conquest in like Cuba and maybe Haiti, and we'll go for Central America all the way up to Panama at least, and then we might do, or make all the Southern American, as many as we can anyway, into dominions. So we'll be sort of the American Empire. We'll see how it goes though. But first things first, we're going to get the construction sector. We are activating some of the troops here. They are actually going to be attacking us by the looks of it. Whether that's actually going to be the case or not remains to be seen. We don't start with all that high literary rate right now, but it's still better than what it was in Marina, of course. Oh, they stopped advancing. Now that we've got some extra troops in there. I think what we'll do is we'll wait until we get to at least like 14 or 15 battalions total there. And then we can start maybe increasing, or start attacking. But right now, either side, well, neither side is really losing a lot of war support in here. There's a little bit of dead. I mean, they've actually got a lot more dead than we have. Interestingly enough. So if we do have a look at the market, we don't produce tools or artillery. We do need a lot of artillery, to be fair. We don't produce any luxury furniture. That's another thing that we could potentially... I mean, I think what we'll do is we'll wait for the tooling workshop. Once we have that, we can start producing a lot more wood, among other things. Is there something that we have at plenty? We've got a lot of dyes. We've got a decent bit of sugar, and some fruits, meat, tobacco, liquor. So I suppose since we've got a pretty good income, I'm just going to drop the taxes a little bit further. So that should get us a bit higher. Yeah, now we're on the top bracket in terms of legitimacy. And that should give us a pretty decent bonus. We could probably also increase the government wages for the time being. And I suppose decrease is something that we should probably do at least one or two. So one in there. And then where do we have a lot of other productions, I reckon? Well, this is going to be probably a good one for the resource, at least the iron mines in there, so we could probably put the decree for resource production in there. And then let's go ahead and start bolstering some of the interest groups. I mean, armed forces is a pretty good one. They do, if I remember correctly now, they were in support of the tax change, right? Yes, they are, okay. So we could probably bolster them. For the time being, anyway. They are part of the government, anyway, so that will increase the legitimacy overall, which is probably for the best. And then we got enough for another 2 degrees, so let's have a look. Is this one not all that much? There's not too much in here. There's a bit of industries over here. We could probably turn this into a bit of an agricultural area, although the state does have the Sierra Madre Oriental, which reduces the infrastructure and construction efficiency. So not really the best choice. Of course, we've also got some options down this way, maybe. But this could definitely be one of the agriculture areas, if we want to bolster agriculture somewhere. So we'll do that one. And then we should have some... Well, actually, I don't think we have coal mines yet. There's potential for logging camps. There's lead mines over here, or could be lead mines there. Some more iron. Fishing. What's there? There's more iron there. I believe we should have... there's sulfur mines over here in Texas. And also California. California, well, it doesn't have a lot of pops yet. There's a lot of subsistence farms, although the total amount of workers in here is probably quite minuscule at that, at best. But I think if we were to start producing a little bit of stuff in here, we could probably turn that into a pretty good location. But right now, we're just building up a few things at a time. So how's the investment pool now? It is already 50,000 in there. We're not using it yet, so that is not used in the construction section building, but that's alright. Then we'll get the barracks and the tooling workshop. After that, we'll probably get something with the investment pool. So yeah, neither side is really advancing in this current war. And our troops haven't really activated yet. Still making a bit of money, and we do have actually more loyalists. And this is actually a really good change. The fact that you can see both the loyalists and the radicals on the same graph there. So you can sort of see the correlation with some other things. Oh, okay. We went through the drafting already. We got a bit lucky with that, I guess. So now we'll try to get the amendment and then voting, and then we'll have the law. So it might take a little bit longer. But I suppose it's also... I think these phases are shorter as well. I mean, I suppose we've got a little bit of authority in here still, so that does help. Okay, so now we've got 11 battalions in here. Still probably not quite enough to start advancing. I do wonder if I should activate a little bit more conscripts. Where could we get? So there's 1 battalion there, 4 battalions there. We'll get those 4 battalions. activated. So then we'll have 21 plus 2. It takes a while, admittedly, for them to activate. Oh, and now we're getting the barracks. Did we already... Right, that's the first barracks that we are getting. And the second one, they will be hiring a lot of people in there. So that's going to cost us a decent bit of extra money in here. Once we do in this war, which, admittedly, it's not really looking like we're winning yet. But neither side has really been attacking or anything like that. We'll wait until we get up to 16 or 15 battalions in here, and then we'll start attacking. I think that's going to be a good one. I suppose one thing that I could do is already queue up a little bit of production in here. So is there anything that we need in particular in terms of productions? Ooh, actually, let's have a look at the rural stuff. So we do have the maize farms, which do produce wine already. The livestock ranches, so, well, we don't have tools, so going for the tool production is a bit pointless. I suppose another thing that I could do, I could probably build a shipyard down here in Veracruz, for example. So we can get our own clippers and such. And then the fisheries can utilize that and all that. So the barracks is almost done, and I think we will also build a maize farm over here. So that's at least something that will be using the construction sector money, which we're paying quite a bit for the construction goods already. But once we get the tooling workshop and all that, okay, I think it's now time to advance the front. I don't think they'll try to attack in the meanwhile, but yeah, if we can... Social banditry. The people of Sonora tell the story of a highwayman who robs the rich and gives to the poor. The legend is spreading quickly throughout Mexico, damaging the support per capita taxation law. We could hunt down the bandit, or attempt to relieve poverty. That would be more tax waste on a 10% success chance, or we could, well, we'll try to hunt down. Okay, so that's minus 10% in there. But we might still be able to, I mean, we can have a few setbacks at least. There we go, our first combat, 15 versus 5 battalions. I think we have a pretty good chance of winning this combat. Although, they are still holding their ground a little bit there. But regardless, we got such a massive, overwhelming manpower in here. I think the troop quality is roughly the same. Have they got cannon artillery? Oh, but hold on, don't we have cannon artillery only as well? Yes, okay, so we have pretty much the same, yeah. We might have a bit better leader, and of course we've got a lot more leaders, or troops in here. Armed Forces Petition Government. Representatives and conversations in the armed forces. As usual, a formal petition to pass the per capita taxation. Okay, so next few years? Next 5 years, okay. Well, I'm hoping that we can pass it by then. I mean, we've got through the first phase already. So, you know, it's entirely possible that we can pass the law. And there's the first combat victory. Now we've got up to 19 battalions already in there, so that's quite nice. So how much are we paying for the military goods right now? A decent bit. Government wages is actually a lot larger expenditure there. And there we go, we started with 5 times as much men in the combat. So that is probably going to be a pretty easy victory once again. So the war against Texas is probably going to be done soon. And then we'll have most of the area at least in here. And then of course we are colonizing around here slowly but surely. It's not going very quickly, mind you, but we are getting a little bit territories there. So that's going to be getting another area from, or in the, oh right, New Mexico. It was from the Apache that will be gaining a province there. And then over here I believe we are also colonizing this area into Utah. But we do need to increase the military size that we have quite a bit in order to be able to fight the Americans, because right now, they only got 11 battalions active right now, but they can have up to almost, well, over 300 total, which is way more than what I can do. Temporary embarrassment. Sway them with a tax cut. So income tax rate for 2 years minus 4%, but we get a 10% chance of passing this amendments in here, so that should be pretty good. And I think at this stage we can probably cease attacking. Just hold our ground, because this war will be over soon. Return Texas. Okay, not quite yet. But as soon as their war support goes below 0, I'm sure that they will be more inclined to take the peace deal. I'm going to send this one to stand by so it doesn't take attrition. Ah, there we go. Proposed peace deal. And there we have it. So now we are colonizing a little bit in there. We got the maize farm in here, which is set up correctly still. Good. And we got some barracks which are also set up correctly. We might... Actually, how much do we have pops in here? Not a lot. So we might not increase the barracks there. It looks like standard of living has actually improved a little bit. And now we're no longer at war. So I think what we might do, in fact, is reduce the military wages and probably the government wages a little bit as well. That'll probably be fine. So now we can see all the colonies that we're doing, and it's quite a few of them. Let's be honest. It's quite a few of them. Going to Colorado. Right, so the Americans are also colonizing over here. By the looks of it. Wait, begins construction. Are they having a war? Oh. Great Sioux Nation. Right, so the Americans are going to have a bit of a war over there, so that will be probably colonized very rapidly afterwards. We'll see how it goes, though. So we're still waiting on getting the tooling workshop. That is slowly getting built. We might want to get another... Well, actually, I don't think we have the construction goods right now in large enough numbers. Wood demand is pretty high. And at least the wood price is pretty high. Now, I suppose I could actually do a little bit of trading. These are not profitable, but we don't produce them, so we do need to bring them in. There's a lot of import demand there. Is there... Okay, we got some liquor that we're going to export. Or dyes. Or tobacco. Or we could just try importing... Well, wood is something that we'll be producing soon a lot more, so I don't think we need to import that. Fabric is probably something that we could quite easily just put in a few livestock ranches and get that sorted, or some of that sorted, so it's not really too big of a deal. But I suppose this will be... Oh, right, this is part of the... Yeah, it's split state there, so Comanche is going to be part of it. Fair enough. We're not going to Oklahoma yet. But I don't think we need to initially start expanding down that way. Market access in Nevada is only 70... Oh, wow. How much do we have? Oh, we got the gold fields in here, okay. And we don't have the railways yet, so that's going to be a problem. What about Arizona? Is that... it doesn't use a lot of infrastructure there, let's be honest. But the gold mines in Nevada definitely do quite a bit in there. Admittedly, it's a pretty decent amount of money, I reckon. Dissenters break ranks. Okay. Armed forces may appear firmly committed to the idea of per capita taxation. Behind its facade of unity, discord has long festered. Now a clique of dissenters have finally had enough and have officially broken with their fellow members over the issue of reform. We could increase the enactment time. We'd get a 1 setback. Sure, we'll do that one. So 1 setback. But now we've got 27% chance of getting forward in this. And we do have more loyalists than radicals, so that's, I suppose, great. Over here we got a little bit of radicals, but it's not too bad. There's a bit of peasants available. We could probably get a mine over here for iron, for example. Provide something of that, because we do already have the tech to increase to the iron frame building. So, of course, we need a lot of iron and tools for that, which we don't really have either one right now. In fact, do we even... No, we don't have any iron mines yet. Alright then, well that's a bit of an issue then. But once the tooling workshop is done, that's going to allow us to improve a lot of the productions. And then we are... Oh, port in Texas. Okay, that's fine. Cotton plantation in Texas. And all of that, but we can... Actually, I don't think we need the markets set on the outliner, let's be honest. Got some politicians. Oh, right, these are the generals that we have. But it looks like the colonies are coming along quite nicely. We've got 7 million population, which honestly isn't too bad. I think for right now, since we know that USA is pretty strong, we're going to start improving relations with them for the time being. We will eventually start fighting them, but right now it's just to make sure that they don't necessarily declare war on us. And we can sort of build up our army and economy and all that in the meanwhile. So we did start with pretty decent GDP, by the way. We started with around 4.1 million, I think. It's already been going up a little bit, but... Nothing too massive, admittedly. If we could pass the taxation law, I do actually wonder how much would that improve the taxation? About 2,000. So nothing massive, but it's better than nothing. Right, actually that does remind me, is there... I'm guessing a lot of these areas are already fully incorporated. That one's not, but that's still a colony, so we can't incorporate that. California is incorporated, Nevada is incorporated, and death and taxes. Is that the leader of the armed forces? Well, we can get another 10% chance at least. So now we've got a 37% chance of passing that. But now the armed forces have a different leader. And I believe we also have a... No, actually we're down to 1 general. Let's activate another one in Mexico. So armed forces reserve artillery. Ooh, artillery commander. That's quite nice. Put that one in. Costs a little bit bureaucracy, but it's not too bad. And then I suppose once we get the tooling workshop, we can start improving a lot of the productions, and then we can maybe get another construction sector soon enough. I mean, getting one over here for Yucatan, for example, would be quite useful. Especially if we're going to be building a lot of farms in there. And then Chiapas, it does have a little bit of farms there as well. But the quantity that we could have in there is a lot smaller. Oh, and now the Central American nations have started getting their independence, or splintering off. I could conquer that. It would be a lot of infamy, though. There's potential for some nations to be against us. So how about Britain? You're protective of us. I'm going to start improving relations with you. Wait for a little bit. We'll probably start expanding down this way. At least through all the Central American stuff. Ah, right. They still got a few states in there. So it's only just Guatemala and Nicaragua that have gotten their independence in there. Oh, and that's going to be another wave of provinces for us. The late is still going to be 10 to 15 weeks, so we've got quite a bit of ways to go. But we'll get that. Well, it's not too bad, quite frankly, but it's still going to take some time. Then we'll get the shipyard. You know what? We'll get the maize farm first, because that's going to give us a bit more money. And now we already started building it a little bit, so that, yeah, that's covering for the build cost. So now we're gathering a bit of extra cash reserves, which of course is going to be very, very handy. And, you know, getting a bit of extra food is not bad. Especially extra wine, that seems like a very good idea. We do still have a little bit of authority, so we could probably put in a consumption tax for something. Although we don't really need to have a lot of consumption taxes right now. Another thing to keep in mind is that we're currently working with low taxation. Technically speaking, we could probably... Well, no, I don't think we can reduce that to very low taxation. We've still got pretty good legitimacy overall, at least. Defamatory article. We can probably afford losing 5% authority for a year. Doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad for us. So where did we have... I know that we've got some states with potential for coal mining, but where do we have them? There's lead mines in Veracruz. Okay, here's one. Did we have a... No, we don't have one yet here, but there's coal and lead here, so that would be probably pretty good for the resource decree. Although it's not really going to be producing anything yet, other than maybe a tiny bit of wood. No, not even the wood. Get a logging camp there, I guess. Yeah, we'll get the base farm. That's going to be done. Oh, right, and we've got the tooling workshop now, so let's have a look. How much is the tooling price? It's probably fairly high. I mean, we are producing, what, 15? Yeah, we're getting 10 from the tooling workshop. I think at this stage we could probably cancel that trade route. Save us a little bit of bureaucracy. And then let's go ahead and... Where do we have... logging camps? There's one. So let's switch this to sawmills. That's going to increase the production by another 30. And then we could potentially reduce the production a little bit, but get some hardwood, which we can then start using in the furniture manufacturer in here to get some luxury furniture. It might cost us a little bit more, but I think that will still be sufficient. Oh, and the Great Sioux Nation has... oh, right, yeah, they gave colonial rights to USA. As one might expect. So let's get this law forward, shall we? Bureaucratic imbroglio. So it's still not looking all that great at this stage. Well, we could probably afford losing a little bit bureaucracy. Not a lot, though. What is our trade law? It is mercantilism. Okay, so we are supposed to be doing a lot more trading than importing. That rise of assembly... Oh, that's causing a lot of radicals. Okay. And that one... Oh, right. Oh, there we go. Looks like... the Central American... Confederate States of Central America or something like that. Well, anyways, the Central American nation is now splintered completely. And we got the lathe. At this stage... in the society, we could cover the stock exchange. Trade route bureaucracy costs would go down. Trade route competitiveness would go up. Or in the military, we could try getting the paddle steamer. That's more convoys. We don't have a lot of convoys, admittedly. But it's not really too urgent. I think we want to go for the stock exchange. Boost a little bit of research there as well. So, if we have a look at the lathe, now that we've got that textile mill, so that's going to be taking a bit of dyes, which we have plenty. That's going to start producing a lot more clothing, so that's going to be good. We're going to use a bit of tools in this furniture manufactory. Aren't we already using some? No, it just switched the wood type and not the tools directly. And then I don't think we have lead yet. No, not really. So that's something we should probably get a mine for it at some point in the near future, so we can produce more glass, which would be quite nice to have. It was looking like the maize farm is going to take a while. I think I'm going to put in the cotton plantation after that, and then we'll get some of the other things. There we go, GDP of 5 million. Nothing massive. It's slowly getting better, and over here we are going to have some iron. What else do we have in the States? Coal all the way down into Costa Rica, and then coal in Panama as well. Panama is going to require war against New Granada, which I don't think we're quite ready yet. But we've got 14 battalions total in our army, although... Oh, this is a different area, isn't it? Yes. So we've got 10 from Mexico itself. We're still having a bit of a small arms shortage though, so that's causing a few issues. At least we're getting a pretty good amount of money from the investment pool, which is still growing, by the way. So what I suppose I could do is I could get another construction sector over here. It's going to cost us a bit of extra, but that will be done fairly quickly. It's a matter of a few weeks. And then we'll have it, and then we'll be able to build over here slightly faster. Nothing massive, but slightly faster regardless. And ooh, population is actually increasing slowly. I mean, we are also getting some more extra pops from the colonization efforts. And the relation with the Apache is getting worse and worse. Or the tensions are rising a lot higher. So, Guatemala, you have no allies. You got 2+1 as your military. So I think we can probably afford doing a... Well, actually, USA might join against us, considering that we have 4 relations. Although our infamy is fairly small, so I don't think they will necessarily join against us. But there's a good chance that they will, so I'd rather avoid it a little bit longer. Until we at least get something over here done. For example, just get... Probably address goes over I. Another setback. Or minus 15% chance, or minus 20 popularity, and minus 10% interest group of pop attraction. I guess we'll take that one, so it's only got 26% chance, but it's still very much random, unfortunately. And there's not too much I can do. I mean, we're already bolstering the armed forces, which is already 21%. So actually, yeah, with all these bonuses, we only get 5% extra. For all those setbacks and things in there. But anyway, I think that is unfortunately going to be the end for this episode. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also check out the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.